رمضان قد أهل بالصيام وأطل مسعدا أهلا وخلا ليته في كل حين.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه من والاه. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh, and welcome to another show of productivity during Ramadan. My name is Ahmed Faris. I'm the founder of ProductiveMuslim.com and ProductiveRamadan.com, and I'm here to share with you tips, ideas, techniques on how you can be productive during Ramadan. In our last episode, we spoke about the challenges of being productive during Ramadan. We said that we should not blame Ramadan for our own unproductivity. Ramadan is the month of action. Ramadan is the month of mercy. Ramadan is the month of us getting out there and getting the most of the rewards. The next step is that we wanted to make sure that the challenges we face can be dealt with. They're very easy. We have to just build certain techniques, certain tips, certain ideas in our lifestyle, and we can become much more productive, inshaAllah ta'ala. We mentioned the idea that we should first of all track our time during the day and see where is our time being spent and analyze our time. And you can do this hour by hour, but by just recording what you do during the day and figure out which activities during the day you should not be doing, which are wasting your time, and getting them out, and which activities during the day you should be focusing on and actually making the most of. We said that we should also try to figure out when are we most productive. Are we most productive during the morning or during the evening? Just figuring out when are we most productive will be very helpful for us, so we can fit in our most important tasks when we are most productive. And then we spoke about the idea of energy management, managing our energy. Because we're fasting during the day and we only eat during the evening, the idea of managing our sleep and our nutrition is extremely important during Ramadan. We mentioned the idea of sleep cycles, power naps, and even that we are what we eat, so we should be careful what we eat. And you can find all this information on ProductiveRamadan.com. Leading on from energy management is focus management. People complain that they cannot focus during Ramadan. They say the fasting, it takes a lot of our time. I'll argue that we can focus throughout the year, not just in Ramadan. Yes, we might say, well, our energy levels are a bit down while fasting, so that's why we can't focus. But really, we are so distracted by so many things that focus is becoming a big issue for many people. And if you want to know the secret of successful people, is that they can focus. If you can focus, Ramadan or outside Ramadan, you can become very successful. So how can we focus? How can we build focus in our day-to-day lives? The first step is to, first of all, manage your energy, which we spoke about in the last session, about energy management, sleep and nutrition. That's the first thing, because managing energy is important for you to be able to focus. But let's say your energy levels are fine. Let's say you feel fine, you don't feel too sort of dizzy and hungry, and you're able to focus. How can you make sure that you get the work done? Here's some simple techniques. First of all, try to remove distractions from your life. Or what I mean by that, have disconnect time. Disconnect from TV, disconnect from the internet, disconnect from mobile phones. It might sound scary, it might sound this is impossible to do, but that actually can be done. If you cannot do it throughout the day, have certain times when this is my disconnect time. This is a time when my mobile phone is left at home. This is a time when I'm not online. This time I'm not watching TV. I'm just completely disconnected. Having the disconnect time will help you focus. So that's the first step. So build disconnection in your life, where there's certain slots of time throughout the day, or literally completely going fasting from those aspects. And trust me, you will feel much better. You will realize that you're able to focus much more easily just by disconnecting. The second step is to simplify. What I mean by this, let's say you're at your desk, you're trying to work, and you have hundreds of piles of paper on you. You cannot focus if you have so many things around you. You need to simplify your life. You need to declutter yourself. Declutter your desk, declutter your desktop, declutter even your mind, having so many things on your mind. Just write all the things that are worrying you, write them down, get them off your mind, so you'll be able to focus on the one task at hand. And also remove things from your desk and keep this one Word document or one process or one report, something, just one thing you're working on. That's how you can focus at work. So disconnect is very important, and simplify. Those two together, you could be able to focus. Now, here's some more interesting techniques to help you focus. have what I call, they call it Pomodoro technique, okay? And simply says that you time yourself to work on a single focused task for 25 minutes only. Not more, not less. So you go, so let's say I'm going to work on this report, or I'm going to study, or I'm going to do this one particular activity at home for 25 minutes, and then I'll stop doing it. You'll be surprised at how much focus you'll have. You'll be able just to do this one task for 25 minutes, and after 25 minutes, you can do whatever you want. You can take a break for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, relax, go around, but then come back to the task, do another 25 minutes set, do another Pomodoro. These are very, very powerful techniques to help you focus. So focus management is an issue not just in Ramadan, it's an issue outside Ramadan. But because Ramadan, people say it's very difficult to focus, here's my recommendations. Disconnect as much as you can, whether from the internet. There are actually softwares that help you do this. For example, called Freedom Software. Go to Google online, Freedom Software. You can actually disconnect the internet for you can actually put a time, 45 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour, 2 days, up to you. And disconnect from mobile phones, leave your phones at home. You know, especially if you have office at work, try not to put it on silent, try to disconnect as much as you can. And disconnect from TV and internet. These things just, honestly, you don't need these distractions in your life. These distractions are keeping us constantly distracted that we cannot focus on a single task anymore. So disconnect from TV, disconnect from the internet, disconnect from mobile phones as much as you can. Build a disconnection time. And the second thing we said is simplify. Simplify your desk, simplify your desktop, simplify your life. Ramadan's a great time to get rid of the stuff at your home and give it in charity. And just literally simplify, keep simplifying. It will help you focus. You might think, well, what does my wardrobe have to do with my focus? Just by having so many things in your wardrobe and so many things at home, you're constantly distracting yourself. Focus needs for you to really slow down, disconnect, simplify, and you'll be able, and this is almost like a muscle. The stronger the stronger you exercise it, the more you become able to focus on any single task at hand. So we've spoken about so far energy management and how you can manage your nutrition and sleep to become more productive. We spoke about focus management and how you need to simplify and disconnect so you'll be able to focus. If we look at all these techniques that have been spoken about, energy management, focus management, you might think it's some kind of new theories or modern theories. But to be honest, if you look at Islam actually teaches us these techniques. And just to mention a few examples, for example, fasting. Prophet Muhammad used to encourage that we should eat our futur as early as possible and we should delay our suhoor as late as possible. Why do you think that? Because if we eat iftar early and delay our suhoor late, we'll be able to build up the energy levels needed so we can sustain ourselves throughout the day. And actually delaying suhoor is a sunnah. It's sunnah. Prophet encouraged the ummah to delay their suhoor as much as possible. So delay your suhoor is a way to manage your energy. Another example from the seerah is that when he broke his fast, he used to eat dates and maybe a glass of milk, or dates, a glass of water. And that immediately brings back the energy levels that he needed just to sustain himself throughout the night. So look at the seerah, how Prophet broke his fast, what he used to eat for his futur, and what he used to eat for his suhoor. And just when you look at the type of food he used to eat, you'd realize that he understood this whole concept of managing your energy so that you can be productive during the day. Let's look also at focus management. Islam is a school when it comes to focus management. For example, look at the example of Salah. Salah is a teacher of focus. If you think about it, just from the moment the adhan goes off, you need to train your mind to become focused on Salah. You first of all make wudu. You take some physical action to prepare your mind that you're going to face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're going to pray. And you're going to stand in Salah, face the Qibla, and actually going to pray. And that becomes a focus management exercise. Now I don't like to call exercise, people think I'm bringing down Salah to some kind of exercise or tool, but Salah as a ritual teaches you focus. And what I'm trying to say is, if you can improve your Salah, if you can really focus in Salah, you have khushu' and tuma'neen in your Salah, you'll become much more focused at work. Don't blame the fasting. Don't blame Ramadan. Don't say I can. Focus is a total different tool. They're a total different thing. And if you want to improve your focus, you need to improve your Salah. So Islam teaches us these things, and it teaches how to become focused. Another aspect of our focus management that Islam teaches us, and people might surprise some of you, is lowering our gaze. People will be shocked. What does lowering our gaze have to do with focus management? By lowering your gaze, you are actually helping your mind see less distractions. When you let our gaze go, especially now in the summer months, and we're all coming in the summer months, and you let our eyes go around, your mind will be just imprinting all these images, and you can't focus. You can't focus at work because your mind is thinking and all these images are playing in your mind. But if you lower your gaze, lowering your gaze is an extremely powerful tool to help you focus. So we mentioned 2 ideas so far about how Islam helps you focus, salah and lowering your gaze. I'll come back to the second part of the show to talk about how Islam improves our focus and therefore helps become productive, inshallah. See you in the next part. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
قد أهل بالصيام وأطل مسعدا أهلا وخلا ليته في كل حين. رمضان قد أهل بالصيام وأطل مسعدا أهلا وخلا ليته في كل حين.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وله. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to the second part of the show, and we're talking about how to be productive during Ramadan. We spoke about in the first half about productivity is really simply managing your energy and managing your focus. And we said energy levels need to be managed by our sleep pattern and managed by our nutrition, and focus is about simplifying our life and disconnecting as much as we can from the multitude distractions we have in our lives. We started talking about how Islam itself, as a beautiful religion, actually teaches us how to manage our energies and manage our focus. We said that, subhanAllah, Prophet ﷺ taught us that we should make our best to rush through our fطور and delay our suhoor as much as possible. And by delaying our suhoor, we're trying to maintain and eat late as possible so that we have the energy to be productive during the day. We mentioned that Islam also teaches us to focus through salah and also through lowering our gaze. Lowering your gaze reduces the amount of images in your mind, and you can actually be able to focus because your mind is clear. You're decluttering your mind. The next idea or principle in Islam that helps us to focus is the idea of solitude, taking time out. That's probably most in Ramadan in the concept of i'tikaf. What do you think i'tikaf teaches us? Not only do we contemplate on our purpose in life, not only do we contemplate on getting close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but it's also training us to become focused and to be able to focus in our lives. Taking time out, having this solitude zone, this time when, although you're busy, although you have so many things, but you take time out to be alone with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that in itself is a whole practice it's a whole practice to help you focus. And finally, the most important thing we have is also the Quran. Reading the Quran and memorizing the Quran is a very prime way to help you focus. Think about when you read the Quran, reading the Quran with understanding and just looking at these words and contemplating these words is also a training in focus. So Islam as a religion is a whole package. It helps you to focus and also to manage your energies and manage your productivity levels. So far, we've spoken about physical productivity. How can you manage your energy and manage your focus so that you can stay productive during Ramadan? Now, the next step is how can we become not just physically productive on an individual basis, how can we become socially productive? How can we now get out of our own self and use these concepts, the fact that we now manage our energies, we can focus, that we can help those around us? People say, brother, I can barely manage my family and manage my work and manage my ibadah. You want me to also help the community? That's too much. No, it's not. Remember the first episode we said that if you look at your time and if you actually record your time on an hour by hour basis, you realize that you're wasting so much time. Or that there's a lot of things you're doing during the day which are not relevant to Ramadan. And you can build certain things, those certain activities in Ramadan which are socially productive. So there's no excuse for not being socially productive during Ramadan. This is the time to get out there and give action. Social productivity does not mean I can have to volunteer for a big organization and give iftars every night. It could be something simple as having a little halaqah with your family, a little halaqah with your neighbors, and going around and helping out those in your area. It doesn't have to take hours and hours of planning and management and teams and meetings. It could be something as long as you're giving back to the community. And there's a very simple idea which we came across last year, where people would go out in traffic lights and they'll start giving iftar to those brothers or sisters who are on the streets and haven't got home for iftar yet. Maybe you can go to taxi stands. Our brothers who work in the taxi community, maybe they're just driving someone, their taxi stands, they have nothing to break the fast with. You can go there, give iftar. Think of creative ideas. We need to be creative. This is the time to be socially productive and help and give back to others. So the concept is, there is no such thing, I have no time for social productivity. You have time. You just have to build it in. How do you build it in? The step number one is to sit down, is to make sure that your intention is purely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To become socially productive and for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to put barakah and accept your deeds, you really have to think about your intention. Why are you doing this? You're not doing this to show off to your family that you're being a good boy, a good girl. You're not doing this to go out there and just to show how much volunteering you do. You're doing this for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So build your intention from day one. The second thing to do is to sit down and actually plan. Plan exactly what you're going to do. Plan with your friends. Make it something which brings your family together. Make it something that brings your community together, your neighbors together. Or if you're in university, your ISOC or your activity together, your flatmates together. And make it something that really has tangible impact. Something that you can say, yeah, that thing, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed me to do this thing, this activity. So once you put the intention, you planned it, the next step is to use the concept we spoke about past two sessions, about managing your energy, managing your focus, slotting in the time, slotting in the activities that take a lot of sort of thinking time into your action, into the day, and knowing when exactly to go out there and become socially productive. Social productivity is actually, simply put, is being useful whenever and wherever you are. As long as you're useful, as long as you're active in your community, that's very, very important. So we spoke about physical productivity, energy management and focus management. We spoke about social productivity, giving back to the community and being active. And now, most importantly, spiritual productivity. Spiritual productivity is a whole topic on its own. And this is probably the biggest and most important purpose of Ramadan. Ramadan is a school to teach us, to get us close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a school that if you don't learn from the school, if you don't graduate from the school with a certificate that inshallah Allah has forgiven you, that you have become close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the whole school becomes over. That you've not learned from the school. Spiritual productivity is now saying to yourself, how can I build my Islam? How can I develop spiritually so that the beginning of Ramadan and end of Ramadan, I'm a total different person. I enter Ramadan as one person and I leave Ramadan and I'm a completely different person. I'm someone now who I feel that I've inshallah developed myself spiritually. So how can you build spiritual productivity in your date in Ramadan? It's important for you to keep track. We have a wonderful tool on our website called the Productive Ramadan Habit List. And the idea is that we need to build habits in our life. Certain habits we do. For example, I want to make sure that I pray 5 times a day in the masjid every single day during Ramadan. So you build this habit into your day. Or you say to yourself, I want to make sure that I read at least 5 pages of Quran every single day. Or I want to make sure that for the next 30 days that I never ever touch that cigarette. Whatever habit you build, you make sure that this is the habit that you build, and you ensure that every single day you stick to the habit. Habits develop over time. They develop unconsciously. They really but you can also develop them consciously by doing them every single day, or if you're trying to avoid a bad habit, by not doing them every single day. Just by and once you've done it for 30 days, which is the whole month of Ramadan, you'll be surprised they become part of your habit. So if you want to become spiritually productive, you need to build the spiritual habits in your day-to-day life. The problem with us is that we're so distracted, we have so little time, that these habits like making sure that we do the morning remembrance of Allah Ta'ala every morning, making sure that we read Quran every day, making sure that we pray the daily prayers plus our sunnah prayers every single evening. Make sure you pray witr every day. All these habits, they take time to develop. And Ramadan is a perfect time for you to do this. Write down what spiritual habits or activities of worship that I want to build in my day-to-day life. So this becomes like my bread and butter as a productive Muslim, as someone who really wants to develop and get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And let Ramadan be the time where you start to develop these habits. So whether it's reading Quran every single day, whether it's praying to the masjid every single day, whether it's praying all the sunnah prayers, whether praying witr, or whether praying witr every single night, or whether it's trying to avoid certain things that are putting you down, sins which you've been trying to avoid for so many times. This is the time. To become spiritually productive, you have to write it down and ensure that every single day you commit to become productive. You commit to this habit until it becomes part and parcel of you, and you don't sort of forget it or stop doing it. So these are 3 aspects of productivity. As a productive Muslim, as someone who really wants to have a fulfilling and productive Ramadan, you start off by physically being productive, by managing your energy level, managing your nutrition and sleep, managing your focus and being able to really simplify and disconnect as much as you can. And second part, social productivity, by helping out, giving back to the community. And thirdly, and most importantly, building the spiritual acts of worship that will get you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so they become part of your day-to-day habit. If you have those 3, physical productivity, social productivity, spiritual productivity, just imagine what sort of Ramadan you'd have. You would go through Ramadan with a breeze. You could be a student who is physically productive, he can focus on his studies, he can do his work, and also at night, in the morning, in the evenings, he's also built these spiritual habits in his lifestyle so that he's getting close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You could be a mother at home with children and have physically productive. She has the energy to take care of her children, to take care of her husband, to take care of those around her. But also at the same time, she builds in the spiritual habits so that she's always constantly making sure that she's not missing out on Ramadan. And she helps the community around her and becomes socially productive. You could be a professional worker and be a career person. And again, you are physically productive, you can focus at work, you're actually still competing with your colleagues and still doing good. And also being socially productive after work, you go home and you're helping the community and the neighbors around you. And also be spiritually productive because you're building in the habits of Taraweeh and Salah and Witr and read the Quran every single day, and maybe giving charity every single day. Just having these 3 concepts is powerful for you to have a very, very productive Ramadan, and a Ramadan that you don't feel guilty at the end of it that you have not done enough. Just by having this 3 concepts, inshaAllah ta'ala. If you want to learn more about all these things we've spoken about, please do visit us at ProductiveRamadan.com or ProductiveMuslim.com, and we have a lot of articles, a lot of techniques, a lot of tools which we can share with you to have a truly productive Ramadan. I wish and pray that all of you have a blessed and productive Ramadan. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
بالصيام وأطل مسعدا أهلا وخلا ليته في كل حين ليته في كل